Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Super-Fanta-Fi. This being a show where we talk about TV shows of the supernatural, fantasy, and or science fictional genre. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Supernatural. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. This is probably, without a doubt, maybe one of the craziest, wackiest episodes of Supernatural. And it's also coming from, obviously, the same show that had a Scooby-Doo, episode. So, every so often they do really wacky episodes. This is this season's wacky episode. So basically it's interesting because you would never think that the tone of the episode would be what it is, because at first it starts off with what is essentially a monster fighting ring, which is interesting. Basically a monster fight club, and I was like, the story playing out the way it did, I wasn't expecting that. But obviously we get to Sam and Dean. They're having bad luck all over the place. I'm like, oh, are you guys what's up with this? It's it seems like everyone's having bad luck. Obviously, they get a call up from Garth being like, I need your help. And just every little thing is going wrong. Because even Dean's immediately this has to be Chuck screwing us over one last time. Or maybe this is a byproduct of something you brought back from Rowena's place. But he's like, it's just not right. It don't make any sense. Just everything just seems wrong. Whether it was the card that Dean was trying to use that Charlie basically set up so they'd never have to worry about, money issues again. And just one kitchen mishap after another for Sam. And I even love that when Dean came back, Sam just came in, he almost tripped. He's like, did you almost fall? Did you almost trip? And he's like, yeah. So it's everything's wrong. They're getting there with the car breaks down, and it's and then they literally had to walk the rest of the way. So that was really interesting. So, and then it's just little things after, because I'd also skipped over the fact that Sam got sick, and I'm like, this is just weird. What's going on here? So Sam's, like I said, he's sick, and the fact is, Bess, Garth's wife, ends up giving him a drink or a remedy that's cayenne pepper, and I love Sam starts. Because I, legitimately, my brain is weird. I was thinking, wolf piss or something. Not even wolf piss, it's just, animal urine or something. It's kind of what I expected it to be. But it's something made with a whole bunch of cayenne peppers. And he starts bawling his eyes out. And their oldest Gertie's oh, the giant is crying. And he's just crying. He's literally rolling on the floor. And he looks so in pain. And then the kids start crying. And he's just begging. He's oh my God. He's it's crazy. And the kids are crying. He's like, how you crying? How do you think I feel? And it's just, and I love that Bess just kind of goes on about what she's doing. She's taking care of the kids and everything. I'm like, Sam is literally crying, rolling around on the floor. Dean got brought into Garth's dentist's office because apparently he's a dentist now. That's really interesting. They referenced him killing a tooth fairy. I do not remember that. Like I said, there's so much little detailed stuff that I forgot. I don't remember him killing a tooth fairy, which is ironic, him being a dentist now if that happened. Like I said, I don't remember that at all. I remember some of the early Garth stuff. I remembered when Sam and Dean found out about him being a werewolf, but that was, that's it. I mean, it's actually interesting because we actually saw Garth last season during the whole Michael situation, when they were trying to kill Michael and everything, and Garth along with a whole bunch of other monsters kind of got control, regardless tangents and stuff like that. But regardless of all that, it's him working on I love him making Dean sit down. He's like, nowhere, I got you, buddy, don't move. He's like, okay, and just kind of the fact is oh, you're so strong. It's yeah, forget about that werewolf strength. But yeah. He knocked Dean out, and then Dean has this dream sequence in black and white that he's dancing and stuff like that. I'm like, this episode is so weird and random, and Garth was dancing with him in one moment, but then it was just, then it turned into a one-man show of just Dean dancing, and it's wow, and he wakes up, and Garth's like, hey, buddy, you're all good, and he's like, hey, because apparently Dean had 17 cavities, because it's oh, when's the last time you went to the dentist? And he was like, never. And then everything was Sam and everything. And then it came back and everything. And it's okay, so what's up with you guys? It's Dean has 17 cavities. You're sick. You had to walk here for 10 miles because the car broke down. What's going on? Who'd you piss off? And they're well, God. And then they explain everything. And now I love it. We're getting in there when you have, I love it, Garth explaining wait a minute. You guys are now basically saying that they're normal now because God's always kind of made them special. And so everything's kind of falling apart because it's I love it because they're okay, because you guys are heroes. I love Garth being yeah, it sucks being he's because he's oh, so if you guys are the heroes, that must mean I'm a recurring character or a special guest star. I'm I love inside jokes. But the fact of the matter is, and Sam wanted to make him feel, it's like, no, you're not just some recurring character. Like, you're important, because he don't want him to feel like a minor character. It's actually interesting, just in the grand scheme of things, because I think it's interesting. Obviously, Sarah Gamble has been associated with this show, but obviously she's also associated with The Magician. I didn't know. I think because she writes, and she's a producer and a writer, especially on both You and The Magician. But the point I was trying to make is because literally in season 4 they had a whole episode about like side characters. It was like episode 7 called Side Effects. I think it was episode 7 of season 4, but it's kind of interesting because it's almost like, oh, just because you're a side character doesn't mean you're not important. But because Sam was trying to make him, no, you're important. He's like, no, I'm glad to be like a guest character in your story, because being the hero sucks. I mean, either your parents get gunned down in the alleyway, Batman, your planet gets destroyed, Superman, and he makes another reference I didn't get that neither Sam and Dean did, and they're like, it was like, oh yeah, it's from 50 Shades of Grey. I was like, I would have never gotten that. I've never seen the movies. And I love that for the moment they're like, who's the hero in that story? So I love that being a bit. But the whole thing was kind of explaining, like, because obviously Chuck is a writer, right? The fact of the matter is, you never give your characters like regular problems to deal with, because especially in hero stories, it's like, oh, it's going to slow down the pacing, giving them issues like going to the dentist, or, you know, having normal people issues, because it would slow down the pacing of the story. So in a sense, and I like to think of it like this, basically Chuck got rid of Sam and Dean's plot armor. Like, for the entire series they've had plot armor, which is so interesting to say considering the fact is Sam and Dean have both died multiple times, yet their plot armor exists still, because it's like, even though they died, they still found a way to come back, when other characters throughout the series have died, have never come back. Obviously there's been others, but obviously it's just the whole thing of like, their plot armor has been like, the fact is that Chuck has found convenient ways to bring them back in some shape or form. So technically they've had plot armor this entire series I think even up till last episode was kind of, and now Chuck is kind of set in motion of like, yeah, you no longer have your plot armor. You're kind of regular people. You kind of have regular people issues, like having issues with your teeth. Dean was stuffing his face full of grilled cheese sandwiches, and then he starts puking his brains out, and then Sam was like, I think you might be lactose intolerant now. So that's the whole thing. I was almost thinking he was going to shit himself just because like he has a terrible diet and stuff like that, and I felt like that was going to catch up to him, which isn't to say that won't, but that explanation is so good. They're just like, they're normal people now. So, you know, basically Bess's brother was the werewolf we saw fighting at the beginning. He got dumped off because they thought the wraith that he was fighting killed him, but now he tells them, was like, no, like, it's part of like, you know, a fighting club in there. And I love Sam being like, oh, we don't care if you're a werewolf, but the fact of the matter is what's going on, you gotta let us help you. And Sam starts making puppy eye dog face and everything, and then her cousin was like, oh man, you see this? He's like, does that normally work or something? And then Sam fixes his face, which is actually kind of sad, because even Dean looks at him, because like typically it does, but it's like Sam's superpower being, you know, those puppy dog eyes kind of convincing people like, okay, it's like it kind of failed in that moment. I'm like, it's that thing of like, I guess you never really realize it until someone breaks the fourth wall and kind of points that out like that. I love it. I even love Dean like talking. He's like, oh my god, I can talk again because of all the, you know, mouth from the, you know, dental surgery and stuff like that, or the dental work and everything. I'm like, dude, this is so weird. So, you know, Sam and Dean decide like, all right, we're going to handle this ourselves. They don't want to get Garth involved because they don't want to drag his family into all of this, because if something happens to Garth, you know, what will happen to, you know, his Bess and his kids. So they handle it on their own, which is like, can you really do that in the state you're in right now? It's like, well, they've done this plenty of times before. They go there. It's like, no. Considering conditions, Sam's like, let's lock and load even more. Dean brings the grenade launcher and everything. And it's like, oh, we haven't used this particular gun in like 4 years. Let's use it. So they stock on a whole bunch of stuff. And then they ended up getting captured. Because I love that now Sam is kind of a klutz. It makes me want, I'm about to go on a tangent. I'll stop myself from going on a tangent in this regard. I'm sure I'll end up on one later on. But I thought it was so neat how when it was all said and done, he ended up like, he's so clumsy and stuff like that, and he ended up getting captured by that. Because of that, Dean ended up getting captured because he was left unguarded because he was puking his brains out, and the guy Cuddy ended up taking the grenade launcher, so I'm like, that came to screw you over. And so it's like, man, they got caught off guard. I mean, they'd gotten caught off guard before, but not in such compromised positions. Because even Sam was like, I didn't even hear him when he got me. And Dean was like, I was literally over a toilet when they caught me. I was like, you literally, in a figuratively, not literally, but figuratively, you were caught with your pants down. That's so interesting. So they're locked in a cage. Cuddy, I even love that messed up thing where he's like, oh, I'm a shapeshifter. And Dean was like, you chose that face? But for him, it's like he has the Winchesters now. He knows who they are. So he wants to put them in kind of like a match, for the, cage match and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. I was like, normally... I'm skipping around. Normally, if this was like under normal circumstances, Sam and Dean would probably be in it. If this was like any other episode, it'd be like a battle royale of like, them fighting, having to fight for their freedom and wait for the chance to escape or something like that. I kind of feel like that's what any other episode would be, except for this one, because everything literally goes wrong. Because it's like, I don't even love them kind of puffing their chests up. It's like, oh, you want us to fight that dude? Well, don't worry about it. The fact of the matter is, we're the Winchesters. We're giving you an opportunity. There's legends. We've killed alphas, we've killed angels, we've killed gods. So you really want to go up against the Winchester? So you might as well just let us go now. And it's like, he's like, no. And it's like, yeah, is it just our luck that didn't work? Or is it just because, because obviously they're trying to overcompensate because they were worried because like in our condition, we might not be able to win. So they're locked up. They're trying to pick the lock and they're failing. And I love the breakdown of like, wait, have we ever been able to pick a lock, or was that just Chuck? So it basically brings into question everything they've ever been able to do. Has it been them, like, because they actually got the skills and talent to do it, they really are the best of the best? Or is it purely because of Chuck's writing and manipulation that they've been as good as they have been? Like, they've always, been able to save the day. So it's like, currently, because it's not like they went from hero to zero. They went from hero to normal. So it's not even zero. You're just normal and you're fallible, and you like I said, you don't have your supernatural plot armor. And I love that, Garth, I love the rewind and everything because Garth snuck in. Because I love, Dean was giving up this big speech of like, no matter what happens, we're going to win. We're going to get out of here. It's like, yeah. But then it's just kind of like, nah, Garth came in, saved the day and everything. He snuck in, got you guys out. I love when he breaks the lock. Dean's like, oh my God, you're so strong. He's so strong. But the fact of the matter is, Garth also planted around all these bombs. And like, that's what I mean. You would expect that brawl to go, like that whole Monster Fight Club thing to end differently. It's like, no, it ended with Garth just blowing the place up. I mean, maybe the Winchesters would have done that, but it's just like, it was like, in a good way, things were almost things literally were anticlimactic because they never had their moments to shine in this episode when they actually had a chance. Because even Garth got like reared up and he was ready to take on the dude knocked him aside, knocked him out. Sam and Dee tried to fight him and failed miserably. Yes, they've had their butts handed to them a multitude of times over the course of the series, but like it's never been this bad. It's never been this shameful. Dean tries to kick him in the nuts, fails. He kicked Dean in the nuts. So it's just all around, and I love Dean going up to him, doing a rapid punch to his stomach and then punching him in the face. That did nothing. Sam tries to kick him. He grabs Sam's leg and flips him. I'm like, this is embarrassing, dude. You know what it reminds me of? It's like Hercule or Mr. Satan, depending on, I've known DBZ from English, so I've always been Hercule. I've never been a Mr. Satan dude, just because I'm not familiar with the, obviously, Japanese dub. Regardless, tangents and all that. But the fact is, it reminds me of Hercule. Like, legitimately. Because they even make fun of him in video games of, like, how terrible his fighting style is. They kind of really can't even do anything. But obviously that was true, to the Dragon Ball universe as well. Because he was good for a normal dude, but he was actually kind of a terrible person. A terrible person in the sense of his fighting and stuff like. So it's literally like seeing them fight was literally like seeing Hercule fight. That's saying something, that says a lot, so it's like, man, if it wasn't for Garth on multiple levels, that would have ended badly. And then Dean's holding his nuts because he's just like, oh, is my voice higher or something too? It's like, that was just embarrassing. So now everything's, it's like, oh, it's all good, so now they have to decide, like, okay, so what are we going to do now? Like, all the monsters are taken care of because of Garth. Is like, you saved the day. Like, what you did, now that's a hero, you know? So I thought that was kind of, you know, pretty neat. You know, Garth kind of, like, telling them about a potential fix to their situation, that basically there's a place that kind of deals in bad luck. But with everything in the universe, like, everything comes with a price. So it's like, okay, so they kind of say their farewells and everything. So it's interesting too, because Dean was like, I always thought I'd kind of be, you know, a good dancer if I put my mind to it. So it's like, I guess that's what that dream sequence was supposed to represent, because, like, I guess on some level he, you know, always wanted to be a dancer, and I guess maybe that was just kind of his subconscious, you know, rattling that off. Or I don't know what to make of that. Like, that's what I'm adding that context to it, but who knows in the grand scheme of things if that's actual context to it. But nevertheless, I think it is a nice thing to see too, like seeing Garth be happy and everything, because this is probably going to be the last time we see Garth, you know, in the grand scheme of things. Obviously, once again, final season and all that, but probably like closing off the chapters for a lot of characters that we've come to know over the course of the series, especially like recurring characters in that regard. So especially because Garth, you know, he went from hunter to being a family man and stuff like that, him and his kids and everything. It is interesting, too, to think the fact is, because he had brought it up, he is the dentist to werewolves, because they can't really go to anywhere else. But I think it's interesting, considering, like, everything that's going down, to see, you know, Garth happy and with the family and everything. So I thought that was kind of pretty dope. So, but the fact of the matter is, now they kind of have to decide, like, okay, we have to kind of go this place to Alaska to see what this whole thing is about, because if we can reverse our luck, we need to, because, like, yeah, getting used to living a normal life would be fine if we were just normal people. But considering what our job is, fighting the supernatural, literally we're going to have to go toe-to-toe with God, because eventually he is going to come back. It's not a matter of if, it's more a matter of when. So we got to be ready for him, because we can't fight him in this condition. Castiel, we ended up hearing in this episode, is off in heaven talking to the angels, which I'm surprised that hasn't been a bigger thing, considering, like, God back in the picture and him kind of, like, he literally started another apocalypse, the apocalypse to end all apocalypse, but luckily they stopped it. But obviously he's still kind of doing his thing. Maybe we'll circle back to that. Once again, what's the angel count like? Because last time I checked, we were literally under Kate Mulligan recently talked about that, and I'm focusing on it every time I'm saying it now. Regardless, they were down to less than 10 the last time I checked. So I'm so curious. Oh, because let's not even forget, like, Michael is out there somewhere. Well, this world's Michael, he's out there somewhere. So, like, what that might end up being too, that has to be considered. But like I said, how many angels do we have left in this regard? So I'm curious to kind of find out what Cassio has to say. I forgot to talk about it too. Garth's kids. It's like, oh yeah, here's the twins. It's like, yeah, this one's Sam. Named him after you. And Sam was like, oh, that's so sweet and that's so heartwarming. It's like, oh, and Dean's like, yeah, and this one must be. It's like, yeah, Castiel. And it's like, and just Dean kind of being like, yeah, you decide to name one of your kids after Sam and the other one after Cassie. I mean, you should have, why not, Sam and Dean, kind of a package. You have twins, come on, we're brothers, and you have twins. It's like, seems like the perfect opportunity that you didn't take advantage of, but regardless. So I just thought that was interesting, but I'm so interested to see where things kind of take us, because obviously things are like this episode. I don't think things are going to be as wacky. Like, legitimately, like, when Dean got kicked in the nuts and it kind of goes to the commercial break, it was literally like that whole, like, circle closing in, like, old school Looney Tunes. This was like a Looney Tunes episode, like, legitimately. In the grand scheme of things, that would make sense, considering WB, Warner Brothers and everything, but regardless, I thought it was, interesting. So, like, I'm curious, like, I think this bad luck is going to continue, but I don't think it's going to be as wacky going forward, because it's probably going to be more serious episodes, especially like whatever that whole situation in Alaska ends up being. I'm very, very interested to find out, like, they've never actually been there, like, because obviously over the course of the series, they've been all over the U.S., but I don't think they've ever been to Alaska. I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain this is like the first time. They've never been to Hawaii either. At least not to my recollection, I don't think. Well, they've never actually been anywhere they can't drive. Because have they ever even been out of the country in this series? I don't think they have. Like I said, I could be super mistaken. I don't remember. There probably have been instances, like I said, that just aren't coming to mind. But, yeah, because literally the last shot of the episode, they're pulling away with the car, and it's like, oh, and son of a bitch, it's not working. And so it's like, I love that you literally broke down in front of, still outside of Garth's place. So you're probably going like, yeah, Garth, can you hook us up one last time before we go? So I am very, very interested to see ultimately where all of this ends up taking us going forward into the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Until the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.